Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there stood a majestic castle, nestled amidst rolling hills and lush greenery. The castle was unlike any other, for it was said to be magical, with secrets hidden deep within its walls. The villagers who lived nearby would often catch a glimpse of strange lights emanating from the castle at night, and whisper about the mysterious happenings that took place within. Despite their curiosity, no one dared to venture too close, for fear of awakening the castle's secrets. One day, a young adventurer arrived in the village, and upon hearing the stories of the castle, decided to uncover its mysteries. With a map in hand, he set off towards the castle, ready to embark on the adventure of a lifetime. As the young adventurer approached the castle gates, he noticed that they were tightly shut. He knocked, but there was no answer. Undeterred, he looked around and found a hidden entrance. He squeezed through the opening and found himself in a dark, narrow hallway. The air was cold and damp, and a musty smell filled his nostrils. He could barely see his hand in front of his face, but he pushed forward, determined to uncover the castle's secrets. Suddenly, he heard a faint whisper, but couldn't make out what it was saying. He stopped in his tracks and listened, but the whispering stopped as suddenly as it had begun. The adventurer's heart was racing, but he pressed on, eager to unravel the castle's mysteries. As he explored the room, the adventurer couldn't believe his luck. He saw objects that he had only read about in books, like a crystal ball that glowed with an ethereal light and a golden chalice with intricate designs etched into its surface. He picked up a dusty tome from a nearby shelf, and as he brushed away the cobwebs, he realized that it was a spellbook. Excitement coursed through him as he thumbed through the pages, but then he heard a noise from behind him. Quickly, he turned around, but saw no one there. He shrugged it off as his imagination, and continued his exploration of the room. As he delved deeper into the room, he stumbled upon a hidden door that led to a secret chamber. The door was locked, but the adventurer remembered a spell he had seen in the spellbook. He whispered the incantation, and to his amazement, the door creaked open. Inside, he found a room that was even more magnificent than the one he had just left. The walls were adorned with ancient tapestries depicting dragons and unicorns, and the shelves were filled with books that seemed to glow with a mystical energy. He walked to the center of the room and saw a pedestal with a shining orb on top of it. The orb pulsated with a soft light, and he could feel its power. It was then that he realized that he had found what he had been searching for all along, the source of the castle's magic. The adventurer knew he had to be careful, for he had heard tales of the orb's ability to grant wishes, but at a great cost. He approached it slowly, and as he did, he felt a tingling sensation in his fingertips. He knew he had to be wise in his wish, or risk facing the consequences. He closed his eyes and concentrated on his deepest desire. When he opened them again, he was shocked to see that the room had transformed around him. The tapestries had come to life, and the books flew off the shelves, whirling around him in a whirlwind of color and sound. He felt an overwhelming sense of joy, and knew that the orb had granted his wish. But what he didn't know was the true cost of his desire, and what other secrets the castle held. The adventurer hesitated for a moment, unsure of how to respond. He had wished for something that he thought was pure and good, but now he wondered if there was a catch, if there was a cost he wasn't aware of. "I wished for happiness," he finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. The figure raised an eyebrow, and for a moment, there was silence in the chamber. Then, he spoke again. "Happiness, you say? And do you truly believe that happiness can be granted by a wish?" The adventurer thought for a moment, then spoke again. "No, I suppose not. But I was hoping that the magic of this castle could help me find it." The figure nodded slowly, then turned and walked away. As he did, the adventurer saw that the magic of the castle was beginning to fade, the colors and shapes returning to their original forms. He wondered what would happen next, and what secrets the castle still held. The adventurer stood there, watching as the castle's magic dissipated, feeling a sense of disappointment wash over him. He had come all this way, risking his life and facing great danger, for what? A temporary glimpse of magic and wonder? He wondered if he had made a mistake, if he had been foolish to believe that there was such a thing as a magical wish. As he turned to leave, something caught his eye. It was a book on a shelf, one he hadn't noticed before. Curiosity getting the best of him, he picked it up and opened it. Inside, he found page after page of beautiful illustrations and ancient script. He couldn't read the language, but he felt a strange pull towards the book. He decided to take it with him, hoping that he could find someone who could translate it. As he left the castle, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had uncovered just a small piece of the castle's secrets, and that there was much more to be discovered. Days passed, and the adventurer traveled far and wide, searching for someone who could help him translate the mysterious book. He spoke to scholars, wizards, and even fortune-tellers, but none of them could read the ancient script. Just as he was about to give up hope, he met an old woman who claimed to know the language. She was a recluse, living alone in a small cottage in the woods, but she had a reputation for being wise beyond her years. The adventurer approached her, showing her the book, and to his surprise, she recognized the script immediately. She agreed to help him translate the book, but warned him that the information it held was not meant for mortal eyes. Despite her warning, the adventurer couldn't resist the lure of the book's secrets, and eagerly waited for her to finish the translation. As the old woman worked on translating the book, the adventurer spent his time exploring the surrounding woods. He had always loved nature and found peace in the silence of the forest. But this time, his mind was constantly preoccupied with thoughts of the book and its secrets. When the old woman finally finished the translation, she handed the adventurer a small leather-bound notebook filled with her handwritten notes. She warned him again of the dangers of meddling with ancient magic and advised him to leave the book alone. But the adventurer was determined to uncover the secrets that the book held. As he pored over the notes, his heart raced with excitement and his mind filled with questions. What kind of magic had he stumbled upon? What kind of powers did this book contain? The adventurer knew that he had to keep the book safe and continue his search for knowledge. The world was full of mysteries, and he was determined to unravel them all. With the book and the old woman's notes in hand, the adventurer set off once again on his journey. He traveled to distant lands and spoke with countless scholars and sages, sharing with them what he had learned from the book. He spent years studying and experimenting with the magic contained within its pages, unlocking its secrets one by one. He became known as a great wizard and was sought after by kings and queens, all eager to learn from him. But despite all his knowledge, the adventurer never forgot the old woman's warning. He knew that the power contained within the book was not to be taken lightly, and that it could have dire consequences if used irresponsibly. And so, he continued his quest for knowledge, always seeking to learn more, but never forgetting the lessons he had learned along the way. One day, while on a journey to a distant kingdom, the adventurer stumbled upon a young man who was in dire need of help. The man was being pursued by a group of bandits, and he begged the adventurer to help him escape. The adventurer, being a kind-hearted soul, agreed to help and used his magic to create a diversion that allowed them to slip away unnoticed. As they fled through the woods, the young man explained that he was the prince of the kingdom they were headed to, and that he had been exiled by his own brother, who had seized the throne and was ruling with an iron fist. The adventurer knew that he had to help the prince reclaim his rightful place as ruler, and so he agreed to aid him in his quest. Together, they set off on a dangerous journey to the kingdom, facing many challenges along the way. But the adventurer knew that with his magic and the prince's bravery, they could overcome any obstacle that stood in their way. After many trials and tribulations, the adventurer and the prince arrived at the kingdom, ready to face the usurper and his army. With the adventurer's magic and the prince's leadership, they were able to defeat the tyrant and restore peace to the land. The people of the kingdom rejoiced, and the adventurer was hailed as a hero. The prince, grateful for the adventurer's help, offered him a place at his side as his most trusted advisor, but the adventurer declined. He explained that his true calling was to continue his journey of discovery and to use his knowledge and magic to help others in need. The prince understood and bid the adventurer farewell, promising to always remember his bravery and kindness. And so, the adventurer continued on his journey, never knowing what dangers or wonders lay ahead, but always eager to face them with an open mind and a brave heart.